tonight are urging parents in the city of Philadelphia to search the rooms of their children to find guns there and call the police to have them taken away. This, as you folks have reported, as he charges a 16-year-old with double murder.
A 16-year-old Philly kid, Aiden Waters, has recently been charged with 2 murders and a string of violent incidents. The teenager, once a poster child for youthful promise, is now at the center of one of the most jaw-dropping stories to hit the streets. The shocking case has everyone from law enforcement to street-savvy folks in Philly trying to piece together how this kid went from innocent to notorious in record time. Let's talk about the details, because this story is far from over.
A small group of young people in the city of Philadelphia made a decision to hold a gun, to point a gun at another human being and pull the trigger.
Aiden Waters isn't your average teenage troublemaker. No, we're talking about a kid who went from gracing the cover of ESPN magazine at just 7 years old to allegedly becoming one of the most feared hitmen in Philly. A seemingly innocent kid with a bright future turned into an alleged killer. How did this transformation happen?
It's called clout chasing, is what we call it. It's what everyone calls it, I guess. You're looking for notoriety. You're looking to make a name for yourself.
The arrest of Waters marks a grim chapter in Philadelphia's street wars, as prosecutors tie him to multiple shootings and killings. One of those tragic deaths was that of rapper YBC Dull, aka Abdul Vix, a man whose reputation and musical bravado made him infamous on the local rap scene. But his fame wasn't enough to keep him safe. Vix was gunned down in a professional, execution-style hit, and all fingers were pointing toward Aiden Waters.
Once again, a 16-year-old charged with double murder in this case. The district attorney calls this a rapid response to violent crime. The alleged shooting occurred just last month.
Philadelphia locals and even national outlets were quick to react to the bizarre twist in Aiden Waters' life. Many were in disbelief. "I remember seeing Aiden on TV, just a kid playing basketball, a bright star," said local sports commentator Brian Thomas. "To hear he's involved in something like this, it's a punch in the gut. The streets are changing the game, and it's affecting our youth in ways we never thought possible. I used to see him on TV, smiling like any other kid," said one local mother who had watched Waters grow up through the media. How does a kid go from that to taking someone's life? Something is seriously wrong. What happened to him? On August 23, 2023, the streets of Philadelphia were forever altered by the cold-blooded execution of Abdul Vix, better known by his rap name, YBC Duel. It was a day that seemed ordinary enough, with the sun high in the sky and the hum of the city's activity filling the air. For YBC Duel, the 26-year-old rising rapper with a notorious reputation in the local hip-hop scene, it should have been just another drive through his familiar neighborhood, a place where he was known, admired, and feared. He was a product of the streets, a rapper whose lyrics reflected the harsh realities of life in Philly, and his swagger matched that of any rap mogul. But on that fateful afternoon, as Dull cruised along the 5600 block of North 6th Street in his black Dodge Charger, the sound of engine revs and city chatter would be replaced by something far more sinister: gunshots. The attack happened in broad daylight, a calculated move designed to send a message. Witnesses reported seeing a white Kia approach Dull's vehicle, its tinted windows hiding the faces of the attackers within. Without hesitation, the shooters pulled up beside him, and within seconds, the unmistakable sound of gunfire rang out, echoing through the neighborhood. It wasn't the wild, erratic firing of a street altercation. These shots were deliberate, methodical, almost surgical in their precision. In those brief moments, YBC Duel's life came to a brutal end. The gunmen fired at least 5 shots, some hitting him in vital areas, including his chest and head. It was quick, it was brutal, and there was no time for Duel to react or defend himself. He was struck while in the driver's seat, his hands on the wheel, as if he never had the chance to realize what was happening. The timeline of Aiden Waters' rise to infamy is chilling. Between August 18th and 23rd, 2024, Aiden allegedly racked up a string of violent crimes that would make even hardened criminals flinch. We're talking multiple shootings, 2 murders, and 8 attempted killings, all within the span of just 5 days. Most kids his age are thinking about homework, sports, and hanging out with friends. But Aiden was allegedly stacking bodies, creating chaos, and playing a dangerous game that had no rules. The thing that shocked everyone the most? This was Aiden's first ever arrest. No juvenile record, no history of crime. He went from being a nobody to an alleged killer in no time flat. Here's where things take an unexpected turn. According to sources close to the case, Aiden Waters broke down in court. We're not talking about a simple, tearful apology. This was a full-on emotional collapse. The kind of breakdown you'd expect from a guilty man, not a kid who's just trying to hold it together. The emotional moment took a startling turn when Waters, through his sobs, reportedly admitted to being paid to kill YBC doll. "I didn't want to do it," Waters allegedly said, his voice cracking. "But they paid me. I had no choice." In a shocking twist, he reportedly admitted to being paid to take out YBC doll. If that's true, we're dealing with a whole new level of street warfare. This wasn't a case of a kid holding a grudge. This was a hired hit. But who paid him? And why? Philly PD wasn't playing games with this case. They came with the receipts, and it's a lot more than just hearsay. Surveillance footage captured the moment Aiden Waters allegedly made the hit, and it doesn't get much clearer than that. Not only that, but the cops were able to match the guns used in the killings to the crime scenes. Ballistics matched, and fingerprints were found all over the getaway car, including on the burned-out Hyundai Sonata that was used in the shooting. To make matters worse for Aiden, he made some seriously dumb moves. He was allegedly caught bragging about the murders in phone calls to his friends who were locked up. Using coded language, Aiden talked about the hits like they were a game. But it didn't take a genius to figure out what he was actually referring to, and the cops were right there, listening in and connecting the dots. Now, let's talk about why YBC Dull was even on Aiden's radar. Dull wasn't your average rapper trying to make it big. Nah, he was known for being reckless with his words and actions. Mr. Disrespectful wasn't just a stage name, it was his entire persona. He wasn't just dropping disses in his lyrics. He was out here digging up graves, putting bodies in his music videos, and going to extreme lengths to prove he was untouchable. Dull's antics made him a target. His disrespect didn't stop at the booth. It bled into real life, and eventually, that kind of energy catches up with you. That's the kind of talk that gets people thinking, I need to do something about this. And it seems like Aiden Waters, whether willingly or not, was the one who got chosen for the job. So, what about Aiden's crew? Fast Break? This is where things get murky. Fast Break is tied to the larger M24 gang, but no one's quite sure what their beef with YBC Dull was. Could it all have been a simple case of clout chasing? Was Aiden just out here trying to prove himself by taking out one of Philly's most infamous rappers? Aiden allegedly made a $100 deal for someone to steal a Kia for him. Is it possible that the whole thing was part of a bigger plot to gain street credibility? When police raided Aiden's home, they struck gold. We're not talking about a couple of cheap pistols. They found a 10mm Glock with a red switch for automatic fire. That's not your average gun. It's a weapon meant for serious firepower. They also found a 9mm pistol that allegedly took down YBC Dull. And these weapons weren't hidden away in some safe. No, they were just chilling out in the open. One Glock was found on his bed like it was no big deal, and the other was in the basement. This kid was armed and dangerous, and he wasn't acting like someone who was worried about getting caught. Aiden Waters now faces a mountain of charges: murder, attempted murder, assault, and gun charges. It's hard to imagine a way out of this. His first ever arrest has escalated so quickly that it's like he jumped straight into the big leagues. The most crucial question now is whether Aiden will be tried as an adult. If that happens, he could be looking at a life sentence. But what if Aiden was just a hired gun? If he was paid to do this hit, then the whole case could go in a different direction. There might be bigger players involved. There's talk of a bigger conspiracy, but for now, Aiden's future looks bleak. So, what do you think? Was Aiden Waters just a pawn in a much bigger game? Or is this just another tragedy of the streets claiming another young life? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's get the conversation going. And if you want to stay up to date with the latest gossip from the streets, make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned.